Hello, in this video I'm going to show you how to export my model to start the retopology process in Maya, how to clean all the meshes, make sure everything is ready, and the best practices. What I like to do always is check every single soft tool that I create, make sure everything is ready, all the objects are complete, nothing is missing. What I mean with that is like if you check my model, I have different parts in here, right? I have some clothing like I'm gonna use, it's like a costume. I have like kind of a mask. I have the hair. I have part of the costume here, part of the costume, some boots, and I don't need nothing else. I have the eyes, nose, head, eyebrows, ears. Make sure everything is ready. Yeah, especially if you are like sculpting everything in ZBrush. If you want to do something Maya, so that's fine as well. Basically, I try to complete my characters between those softwares. Whatever is more hard software, I try to do in Maya. Whatever is like more soft, like I try to do in here. So I combine both softwares. In this case, I'm happy with the result of my sculpting. I'm ready to export it. When I'm saying it's ready, I don't want some weird brushes. We want something clean with the details that we want. In this case, it's a cartoony character, doesn't have like that much detail, doesn't have wrinkles, pores, so that's fine for me to start exporting. If I want to add some cloth textures to this, maybe some fabric pattern, I can add it in Substance Painter or in another software. What I want to do is at this point is to have a nice model to export, okay? What I like to do is always check the topology that I'm working. Click this button or Shift F. I'm going like one by one. You can see the eyes, then we can go down, ears. As you can see, I'm trying to keep slow as possible at the beginning. Yeah, I don't want to add too much topology. I increase topology gradually. I don't increase like that much topology when I'm just blocking or creating forms. Then when I need to add more details, I add more topology. I try to keep it as low as possible always because the file is lighter, so I can just work faster, right? Okay, we check this. You can see it's a little bit more dense, so maybe we can reduce from here. We can check these parts. You see there are three parts, not too dense. And then we can go down, and here I have, you can see the solo. You can see it's overlapping. I can check individually. You can see if I press solo, wherever I select the soft tool menu, I'm able to see it by itself, and I can just move down. You can see in here it's a little bit more dense. I can reduce it as well. So I'm just checking what I need to clean. Yeah, you can see in here it's super dense. So maybe here we need to reduce those polygons and merge these are the sleeves of this part. So I want to combine them both. We can go down, checking eyebrows, nose, head. You can see in head. Another thing I recommend you, if you have duplicated objects, make sure you hear them or you remove them. In this case, you can see I have two heads. I know that I'm having two heads because when I selecting this one, this is off, and you can see the overlapping color, but I keep it off. Now I go down, I see the hoodie. You can see the edges. The edges are not clean. So in this case, we're gonna make some more adjustments to clean those edges really quick, and it will be ready to export. If we go down, we have the part of the custom. I have the hair. You can see the hair. I create all those strings from a sphere, and then I create those nice curves, and then those nice pinchings. If we go down, see the head, body, boots. In this case, you may want to add the body with the boots. That's up to you. But imagine if I want to change it, the boots for another type of shoes, probably you want to keep it separately. So that's up to you, okay? If you want to have exchangeable clothing, keep it separately. You don't need to merge them. But from the body to the head, probably you want to merge if you want. This is something that you need to check. You can see in here, I also create eye parts. Here you can see the mouth. So I'm checking all of them. I have 19 objects. First thing I want to do it just combine the things I want to combine. So I remember I mentioned before this and this. Basically what I'm doing is clicking Alt and left click, and you'll be able to select from the viewport wherever you click. Yeah. So let's combine these two. Let's reduce the topology. So let's select the body. You can see in here, as soon as I click it or select it from the soft tool menu, you will be able to move it down. Yeah. What I like to place it is just above the other object I want to merge. You see, now I have here, here, the two objects that I want to merge. Yeah. To keep everything safe, I recommend you always work with versions. You don't want to overwrite nothing or destroy nothing that you have. So I recommend you to do File, Save As, and instead to overwrite the file, maybe just put like character and then just one version 001. So you keep a copy of the previous work. You don't want to overwrite or change nothing. You always want to be able to go back if something goes wrong. Okay, that's a good practice. Okay, so now we're gonna merge these two meshes here. We go to the top one, we go to the down. You can see we have split, merge, so merge down. So now you can see what object I highlighted because I have this icon on. So now I can check for one single object. Now that you have the two objects together, I press solo, so I can just focus on that. I go down to Dynamesh. Basically what I want to do is just merge four objects in one. At the moment they are just merged and they are individual objects together. What I want to do is fuse those edges. I want to make just one mesh together, all the topology, not just overlapping. Dynamesh, and you can see now if I get close, that is fused. Before was like that. When I press Dynamesh, now you can see it's fused. So now we have one single object. That's super good. Now I want to reduce the topology. There are multiple ways to do it. You can reduce the Dynamesh, but to keep it optimized, we can go to Remesh, put it halved. And then what I like to do is, because you can see the groups, if I want to do some modification, I like to keep the groups all the time. That's up to you. Keep groups. I like to detect the edges of the groups and then zero mesh. And when it's done, you can see reduce the topology and now have clean edges. I don't want to keep it like that. Probably we'll do another one. I click in the zero mesh again and check how that topology look. Okay, now it looks a little bit better. We can remove this and check. Yeah, you can see now it's less polygons, cleaner, and it have the same form. It has nice edges, and I can do to check one thing. Let's remove the wireframe. Shift F. Let's do zero mesh. Check here. I have half, so anytime that I'm pressing zero mesh, it reduced by half. Yeah. So now you can see we start looking some polygons in there, right? So that's when we need to stop. We don't want to remove too much topology and ended up with have a mesh too blocky. You can see if I do few times more, let me just do just to show you what's happening. If I do one more, if I do one more, you can see now how blocky look now. So we don't want that. We want to keep it a point that looks enough soft, right? That's more than enough. And the topology as well is good. Sometimes that you can see in here, when you have symmetry on, the topology gets better. So that's another tip that I can give you. Then you zero mesh, the topology is even from the both sides, you know. So that's another thing that you may want to keep in mind, but that's just for exporting. Okay, so now let's go for the next. So now I show you how to combine an object. So now instead of having two objects, I have just one. Let's continue checking. The other thing I want to show you is the hoodie. We make it solo. Let's clean this thing. You can see the edges are a little bit bad. We're gonna use again zero mesh. We're gonna use to have, keep groups, detect edges, and then zero mesh. We're gonna do a few times until those edges looks good. You can see one, another one. Yeah. So we are cleaning the mesh as much as we can. You can see now it looks even better. If we do one more, you see now it looks almost perfect because we reduce. Also, you don't want to go too low as well, right? We're going to keep it good and clean. Okay, let's check the next one. Continue. Let's check which parts of my character look super dense. Shift F just to check. You can see this topology is good enough. This is fine. This is fine. This here, this just overlapping. I keep it off. This is good. This one is reduce that topology. Things that you need to understand is when you want to reduce topology, it's not just because it's lighter, also because it's cleaner. And things that you want to have in mind is when we reduce, it's just to keep shape and details, right? We don't go to reduce too much that may lose some details. Halved, so yeah, another halved, yeah, another half probably. Let's check. You see, I don't want that. One back, yeah, one back. I will keep it like that. And don't forget that they still like being an object, so you can just go and continue sculpting on top, so that's fine. Let's check the hair. Multiple shapes. I put them together just to keep it the soft tool menu clean. But then when I move them to Maya, I can just go and separate by objects. I will show you how to do that. Okay. Now we have the head, slow topology. This is a decent topology. This as well. Let's check. This one's fine. It's not that bad. This is the mouth as well, not that bad. Yeah, and it's almost ready. I have this sphere just to show you a different way to reduce. Obviously, in my object, I don't have mold details, I don't have pores, I don't have like high frequency details. So it's good to use Dynamesh, Shear Mesh to reduce it. But imagine if my object has super dense mesh and small details, as you can see in here. We have another tool that we can use for this type of job. We have a Z plugin here, and then we have decimation master. Decimation master is basically allow us to reduce the amount of polygons that we have, the total point count, and so this object will be like the same principles as we did before, but is more accurate to keep small details, right? So C plugin, pre-process current. You can do one by one, you can do it for all of them at the same time. We want to pre-compute the current tool. So it takes a little bit of time, it's analyzing the mesh, and when the process is complete, it's gonna show in here. Let's wait. Okay, now it says operation complete. So that means this object is ready to reduce. Let's bring the wireframe, Shift F if you want, C plugin. Now instead to present again like pre-process current, we're gonna go to decimate. By default, this is to 20. Let's try with the default settings, decimate current, and it's gonna take a little bit of time. All this pre-computing depends on how fast is your computer and also how dense is your mesh. You can see now we reduced, before was 4,000, now it's 2,700, but you can see we managed to reduce really drastically what it was before. Before was like that. Now before it was 11. Now when we reduce it, 2700. Okay, so because ZBrush is really good to handle multiple polygons, but when you bring this to Maya, having a really dense mesh, it might make you experience super laggy. So you don't want to have a super dense object in Maya for retopology, right? Okay, so this is just for the preparation. Another things that I recommend you as a best practices is because we're gonna do retopology and also this character is for animation. Remember to keep T pose or A pose. That will work as well. T pose is better because it allows you to place the rigs as super straight. Another thing you want to do is just name here those soft tools. That's as well as super good practice. You can have in here, you can see rename and then just naming as you want. In this case, there are the eyes, so yeah. So that will help you to identify every single object in Maya. And it's ready to export. This is the second video, the tutorial how to export from ZBrush to Maya for retopology. In this case, you can see we were in the process of reducing topology, right? So we keep the mesh optimized for retopology in Maya, and we're gonna export, right? You can select the object that you want to export, and then select a folder that you want. In my case, I just wanna make here a folder. I'm gonna put character parts. I recommend you to keep it that clean and tidy, and then you can see eyes obj and we can save it. So now in my folder, if I check it, I'm gonna have the eyes, right? So now it's gonna have that file. Another thing that we can do in here is export everything. Go to C plugin, FBX export, and all visible, all the objects that are visible will be exported. Also, you can select for it one by one. At the moment we want to export the visibles, remember I don't click that all because that will export everything, even the objects that are like hidden. Remember I have two heads, probably I don't need two heads, but if you have multiple things hidden and you want to export just everything, just click alt. The rest is fine, Maya, and then we can check some options. We don't want any camera, that's everything, and we just export. We select the location, and then in this case let's call character and save. So now you can see before from here we were able to export every single object individually and that came as a obj, but now we are able to export the entire character as an FBX. Okay, you can see, so everything will be in one file, so we can export individually or with one file. Okay, now that we have our file exported from ZBrush, we can go to Maya and then import those objects. Just drag and drop. Let's check and let's get closer, and you can see we have the eyes in there. And now let's do the full character. Let's just do the same thing, drag and drop. And it takes a little bit more time, but you can see the character is there, okay? That's one way to import it. Let me show you another way to import. You can have file, import, then just find the object that you want to import. Yeah, so that's everything. And you can see the naming I told you before. That's super good because if you already name everything, it will be easy to identify things in here quickly. And you can see the eyes because I name it, they are reflected in here, but the rest is no. But don't worry, you can just name it in here as well. Okay, you can just double click and put Yeah. So now we have an object in Maya. Next video will be how we prepare that to retopology. Thank you.